Okay, so we'll make a start. So welcome to tonight's webinar. As you can see there, the title of tonight's webinar is Personal Development. And this is the 8th in a series of 8 webinars that I run. I call it the Kleeneze Circle of Success. As you can see there, the first 3 are really about the retail side of the business. So getting started, what to expect in your first few weeks, gradually building up your customer base and so on. And then numbers 4 and 5 are all about team building and supporting your new team members. And then 6, 7 and 8 are really about kind of those other skills, the kind of personal development, attitude skills that are really so important that kind of influence all the other bits. And so the last one that we're doing today, as I say, the 8th, is really wrapping up that personal development side. And what I'd like to start off is just by asking a question. A lot of people, well, certainly myself, before I got into Kleeneze, if somebody had said to me, what is personal development, I guess I would have had made an educated guess, but I wouldn't really have known anything about it. And to be honest, in the 30 odd years since I'd left school, or 25 years since I'd left school, I probably hadn't really done anything that I would call personal development. I'd done a bit of business training with different companies that I'd worked with and so on, but that was kind of like essential training for the job, not anything that I'd chosen to address any sort of my own personal skills. So what I'm going to talk about tonight is what is personal development and how does it affect your Kleeneze business? Because that's what we're all here for today. We're all hopefully here to build a successful Kleeneze business to give us the freedoms that the finance and the time of a business like Kleeneze can do. So there's a description there. Personal development is a process of self-education where skills and knowledge chosen by you are learned in order to improve the quality of your life. So the important things there are it's self-education. You choose what you want to educate yourself on. As you start to grow through your Kleeneze business and you work with your leaders, your sponsors, your successful uplines, you will find that there are some skills that you might want to improve on. It might be a fear of failure, or it might be kind of time management, or it could be all sorts of different things. But you can decide what you want to work on, and those skills that you choose will be ones to improve the quality of your life. So it's not like school where you get told this is really what you should learn. It's where you decide what you want to learn, and that's why it's really important. Now, in the last module, we talked about the fact that we all have the same opportunity. When we all join Kleeneze, start off with 250 catalogues, no customers, and a bunch of enthusiasm. But with that same opportunity, some will succeed and some won't. And we explained a bit about why your attitude is so important to your success. So, how can you make sure you are one of the ones with that great attitude and you are one of the ones that succeed? And a great step in that direction is your self-education. Jim Rohn said, formal education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune. Now when I first heard that, I sort of thought, oh yeah, it's kind of one of those glib little statements that you make that sound kind of impressive. But actually, the more you get into self-education, it's a bit like anything. When you learn a little bit about something, you actually realize that there's a lot more about the subject that you don't know about. And I've certainly found that very true in self-education. The more you learn about yourself and your attitude and how you deal with failure and how you deal with frustration and how you motivate yourself through difficult times, those skills can take you to a fortune if you have the right opportunity. And Kleeneze is certainly the right opportunity to help you with that. So, just want to give you kind of a little bit of an idea here of how self-education can make a big difference. When I was at school, back in the days of O-levels and A-levels, I thought I did reasonably okay. I kind of didn't really work that hard, but I was kind of, luckily, I had reasonably bright, I suppose. So I got 7 O-levels, a bunch of A-levels. I went to university for a year, but I was too immature really. I just kind of spent all my kind of time drinking with mates and not really studying, and just dropped out after a year. And it was all kind of a bit of a waste of time and the government money, I'm afraid. And
my O levels that I got were in French and German, which is just what I want to tell you right now. I got a grade B in French, primarily due to the fact that we had an amazing teacher, and a grade E in German, which was primarily due to the fact that I just skipped the classes. I wasn't really enjoying it at all. Didn't have any interest in it at the time. Now, 15 years later, I took those O levels again, and I got a grade A in French and a grade A in German. Now, do you think I suddenly developed some fantastic skill in languages? Hopefully you'll realise that I didn't, but it was just that I worked hard at them because I wanted to. Basically, what happened was a company that I was working for were taken over by a French company, and there was an opportunity to go and work in Paris. And I thought, oh yeah, I fancy a bit of that. So in order to increase my opportunities to do that work, I decided to do an evening class in French. And because I had this motivation, I had this goal, this opportunity to go and work in Paris, and I kind of worked hard at the French, and did all my homework, did extra work to make sure I did it, did lots of work outside of the classes and so on. I got a grade A. I was really, really pleased with that. Now, actually what happened was I changed companies while I was doing that, so I never actually got to Paris. However, the next company that I worked for was subsequently taken over by a German company. And again, the same opportunity arose, and I decided it might be useful if I could speak a bit of German. So I did an evening class, got a grade A in German, really pleased with that. And I actually went out and worked in Bonn and Berlin and Munich for a couple of years while I was with this company. And so that was really, really useful to me. Now, in fact, the Germans are all brilliant because they all speak brilliant English anyway, but the fact that I'd spoken a bit of German just kind of made it so much easier for me to work with people over there because they appreciated the fact that I'd made an effort to learn German. So the important point of all of that, sorry, that's not meant to be a lesson in kind of how to, why you should take French or German. The important point was, in the past when I was at school, I didn't really understand why I was doing this education, how it was going to benefit me, so I didn't really work at it. But suddenly, when I had a goal, a reason for doing it, because I wanted to do it, I worked really hard at it, and because I worked hard, I got the results that I was aiming for. Now, it's all very well. What on earth has that got to do with Kleeneze? Well, if you think about why people join Kleeneze, you can hopefully look at yourself. Why did you join Kleeneze? I suspect it's not because you had a passion for delivering catalogues through people's letterboxes. I suspect it's more to do with the fact that you wanted to improve your lifestyle. You might have had some problems, some financial problems, or a lack of time, or stress at work. Whatever it was, you wanted to make some improvement in your life. Now, you started Kleeneze. Some of you, I see John's joined us there. John's been in the business for I don't know, probably around 20 years or so, John. And so John probably has a pretty good lifestyle. Yeah, I'm sure John does have the quality of life that he was hoping for when he joined. But for those of you who are not yet at that the level of the lifestyle that you wanted, if you don't feel that you've achieved it yet, what do you think you need to do to achieve that lifestyle? And I'm hopefully going to expand a little bit on that. So, to get that improved lifestyle, you need some results from this business. And those results can be orders from your customers. You build up a customer base of customers who order from you regularly, so that provides you with a good income. You might, if you wanted to earn a bigger income, you might have some team members, so you want to grow a big team, big successful team, which would then give you a residual income. So those might be the results that you're looking for to get that improvement in your lifestyle. But the results don't just come on their own. You need to take some actions to get those results. So to get some orders and to get a customer base, you need to deliver catalogues, you need to deliver them regularly to your customers. And if you're looking to build a team, you need to be able to speak to people about the opportunity. So there's a bunch of actions that you need to take in order to get the results. So that all seems fairly straightforward. But as you remember from last week, knowing what actions to take and actually taking them persistently and consistently, even when it's raining, even when you don't feel like doing it, even when you're tired, even when you've got other things going on in your life, to take those actions regularly, you need the right attitude.
the kind of if they can do it, so can I attitude. And your attitude, whether it's good or bad, whether it's positive or negative, is based on your philosophies on life. And I'm going to expand on that in a moment because it kind of sounds a bit sort of glorified. I certainly had no idea what my life philosophies are when I started. But your philosophies are things that will be developed by your self-education. I'm going to expand on that again just in a moment. So, just going back on that in a moment, the philosophies on your life will determine your attitude. And if you've got a good attitude or a bad attitude, that will determine whether or not you take those actions that we talked about. Those actions that you take, delivering your catalogues regularly twice a week, speaking to people about the opportunity whenever you get the chance, taking those actions will deliver some results. They will deliver you orders and a customer base and team members and a residual income. So hopefully you've kind of got an idea why philosophies of life and the self-education that can determine those are really important to the improved lifestyle that you're all looking for. So there we are. Your philosophy delivers your attitude determines what actions you take, the actions produce the results that you need that will give you the lifestyle that you're looking for. So that sounds grand. Let's all go and buy a good philosophy. I think if you nip down to Tesco's, you can probably get one for $5.99, something like that. Or maybe not. So how do you actually get a good philosophy? Well, your philosophies in your life are determined by the books that you read, the CDs that you listen to, and the people you associate with. So you can educate yourself. We talked right at the beginning how important self-education is. And everybody can start a program of personal development. Personal development and self-education I'm kind of using interchangeably here. So you can educate yourself by starting this program of personal development. And who can do that? Absolutely anyone. Again, Jim Rohn, the greatest value in achieving success is not the money you make, but the person you become. Personal development will change you. I guarantee if you start reading some of the books that I'm about to recommend, and you explore some other books, and you listen to your upline and read the books that they're recommending, you will be a different person in a year's time, and in 2 years' time, and in 5 years' time. And Jim Rohn said this is really, really important because it's the value in achieving success isn't the money, it's the person that you become. His example for this was, if you can imagine 2 millionaires. One guy is a millionaire because he just happened to buy a lottery ticket and he won the lottery. So he's got £1 million, absolutely fantastic, living the life of Riley. Another guy who's a bit of an entrepreneur, started off with nothing, kind of started working hard, maybe he was a Kleeneze distributor, worked really, really hard and set up this business, learnt lots of skills, improved himself and became a millionaire as a result of it. Now, if those two people both then decided, right, I've got £1 million now, I'm going to buy this fantastic house down in Spain or something like that, I don't know. So they both buy this house, this is the trappings of their success. And then all of a sudden, there's a crash in the property market, a change in the law, the government takes your property away from you because it was built on illegal land, and you've lost your £1 million. The guy who bought the lottery ticket is no longer successful. He doesn't have any money, and his only way of getting any further in success might be to go start buying lottery tickets again. But the entrepreneur who had a business and who made £1 million has got all of those skills that he learned in becoming a millionaire. The person that he became is so different, he can do it all over again. So that is the value of it. So I hope that kind of all makes sense, guys. A bit profound maybe, but hopefully it'll help. So how do you start making starting your program of personal development? Well, a great thing to do is just to read 10 pages of a good book every day. You don't have to sort of sit down with a 6-inch sort of massive pile of books and say, right, I'm going to read through these one after the other non-stop before I go any further. I would say start off just reading 10 pages of a good book every day. So I'm going to recommend some books in a moment. These aren't kind of novels, Harry Potter, which is more kind of entertainment. These are books that you will need to study, that you will learn things from. And even if you're doing just 10 pages a day, even with 115 days off a year, that's still 2,500 pages a year. That's 10 good books. If you read 10 great books in the next year, I guarantee that's a fantastic start to your self-education. Or, if you're not a great reader, I've got to admit, until recently, I've actually found a book now that I'm really enjoying and I'm reading it well. I always used to find it difficult to find the time to read. I would always say, right, I'll go to bed and I'll read 10 pages before I go to sleep. I'll be about halfway down the first page and I'll be nodding off. So what I found was, you can also listen to 10 minutes of an audio CD. So many great books are now on audio CD, so you can get the same benefit by listening to them on an audio CD. So stick those in your car, turn your car into a university and listen to 10 minutes every day while you're dropping the kids at school, or while you're on your way to work, or while you're delivering orders to your customers. And the other question to think to yourself, and this can be quite painful at times, who do you spend most of your time with? And there's a phrase there that I've heard quite a lot. If the 4 people you spend the most time with are broke, then you'll be the 5th. And that's probably true. We tend to kind of mix with people that are about our own level, but that's something you can change. Certainly in Kleeneze, you can find your successful upline. You'll see them at local meetings, at millionaires' colleges, at national conferences. You might have local team sizzles and so on. If they are the kind of, maybe them or the level above them or the person above them is successful, try to spend some time with them, even if it's just at meetings and the odd phone call just to ask for a bit of advice. This is kind of an important step, and it can be one of the hardest ones for people who are looking to change their lifestyle. So, a few little philosophies here just to kind of explain a little bit, try and give you some examples, so hopefully it'll give you an idea of the sorts of ways you can change your thinking. Take responsibility for everything going on in your life. Now, what does that mean? As soon as you blame someone or something for anything, something that's going wrong in your life, you start blaming somebody else or something else or the circumstances, you lose the ability to do anything about it. So, for example, if you're at work and you're hoping for a pay rise and you ask your boss, could I have a pay rise, boss? And he says, no, sorry mate, we've got no money in the budget, there's no pay rises for the next 12 months. Then it'd be easy for you to say, bloody hell, I can't get a pay rise, I'm really struggling for money at the moment, my boss won't give me a pay rise, I hate my boss, I hate the company I work for. You're blaming them, and as a result, the only way you're ever going to get a pay rise in your mind is when they change. And let me tell you something, your boss and your company are unlikely to change, but you can change. You could find out what you need to do to get promoted, or to apply for a better job. And if there's a skill that you think would be useful to you, you could take an evening class, and then you can apply for the job. And if you don't get the job, you can find out what you were lacking. A good company will give you feedback and say, actually, it was really good, but we're really looking for someone who's got this qualification. And then you can take an evening class in that. And the difference is you're taking control of that situation. You're deciding that you're going to find out what you need to do to get the pay rise, and you're going to do something about it. So that just gives you the control over it, rather than blaming someone else, which takes the control away from you and gives it to them. So I think that's a really, really good philosophy. And another thing I hear people say all the time, I don't have time to do that. See, the thing is, we all have 24 hours. And if you've got other things that you have to do, it's much better to say, I choose my time, I choose to spend my time doing this. Now, you may not feel that it's giving you any more time, but the important thing is again, you've taken control of it. If you just say, I don't have time to do it, then the only way you're going to find time is if somebody changes the days to be 28 hours instead of 24 hours. But if you say, I'm choosing to spend my time doing this instead, then you've got the control, and you can say, well, if I wanted to, I could choose to do this instead of that. And that then gives you the control. And apart from anything else, what I've found since I've started doing this is it just reduces stress. It gives you control over all these situations. And if you can get some stress out of your life, that just improves the quality of your life no end. So that's something I really enjoy doing. Probably really enjoy thinking about this idea of taking responsibility for stuff going on rather than blaming circumstances or someone else. And another one there is, this is a couple of books I'm going to talk about in a moment, refer to this. Success is a few correct decisions repeated every day. Failure is a few errors in judgment repeated every day. And the gist of that is, you can be successful, and it's not usually as a result of a single amazing decision that you made that suddenly transformed your life into a success. And equally, failure is very rarely a catastrophic decision that you made that then sort of completely ruined your whole life. It's often just little things that you do over and over and over again every day that are either good things which lead to success or errors which are leading to failures. Yeah, I've talked a bit about there. Great decisions, good things to decide in Kleeneze business, for example, could be, I'm going to decide to put an extra 50 catalogues out every week. And that is a great decision. But equally, you can decide, I'm not going to put so many catalogues out this week, I'm sure it'll hardly make a difference. And it probably doesn't make a huge difference that week, but over the weeks and weeks and weeks, that will make a huge difference to your customer base and your orders and so on. And it's the same with team building. You know, if you've got a couple of rods in the pond, but you could have 3 rods in the pond, you could be putting some extra shop cards out or something like that, and you can do that every week or every day, then that's going to be successful. If instead you decide, oh no, I'm not going to bother, I'm just going to stay and watch TV tonight instead, and you start repeating that regularly, then that's going to lead your business on a downward trend. And the same with the self-education I talked about earlier. 10 pages of a good book, easy to do, but also easy not to do. And last one, and this is relevant to our business particularly, help enough people get what they want out of life, and you can have anything that you want out of life. That's just about, you know, thinking about other people and trying to help people out. And if you're in the Kleeneze, and especially if you start to get into the team building side, you will come across lots of people who are looking for some help. And if you can help them get started with their Kleeneze business, then if they can get what they want, you can have anything that you want. So hope that all helped. Right, I've talked quite a lot over the last 20 odd minutes or so about great books to read, reading 10 pages of a good book and so on. So I'm just going to whiz through a couple of recommended books. So pick 1 or 2 of these if you want to get started on, or have a chat with your upline if they've got particular ones that they recommend, because there's probably, I don't know, 100 books that I've come across in Kleeneze, maybe more, and they're all really, really useful. So a couple by my favourite author, Jim Rohn. There's a CD there, Building Your Network Marketing Business. I just love that CD. He's got such an easy way of talking. I think of him as kind of like a friendly old American grandfather, if that kind of makes sense. And that CD is all about the philosophies about network marketing, about building your business. I think it was the first personal development CD, I suppose, that I listened to, and it's probably still one of my favourites now. Another great one, again by Jim Rohn, is 7 Strategies for Wealth and Happiness. And it kind of just breaks down into a bit more detail his philosophies on life, so about setting goals, about, you know, how to spend your money, that sort of thing. That's a really good book. Right, 2 books that are quite similar in a way, but both worth reading. One's called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, and the other is called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And basically, the gist of these 2 books are related to that last philosophy I mentioned. It's not the big decisions, it's the little ones that you make every day that makes the difference between your success and your failure. Okay, the next one there by Dale Carnegie. It's a very famous book, it was written back in the 1930s, I think. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it's an interesting book to read because you learn a lot from it, but it uses lots and lots and lots of examples of people that Dale met and stories from kind of back in the American, I guess it's the kind of the boom of kind of steel magnates and large corporations and so on. And the gist of it is basically, be nice to people. It's amazing what you get in return. Now, I haven't done it justice then. If you want to know a bit more about it, go into, you know, Amazon or something and read the reviews. But I find that a really, really good book. And I've got to have one of the reasons that it's a personal favourite of mine, I actually found my copy of this in a car boot sale and it cost me 10p. I guarantee that's the best 10p I've ever spent. And then the last one I'm going to recommend here, and some people will like this, some people won't. It's by Darren Hardy, who spoke at one of our Kleeneze conferences probably about 4 or 5 years ago now, and it's called Design Your Best Year Ever. And it's basically a workbook. It's not just one that you read. It's like a workbook, and it basically allows you to decide what you want to achieve, what your goals are, and then at the end of a year, say, so you can kind of set a target at the end of a year, and it helps you to break those down into achievable chunks. So at the end of the year, you might have some amazing kind of scary target that you think, oh crikey, that would be hard work. And at the moment, I'm not even sure how I would go about achieving that. But it just allows you to break it down into kind of monthly chunks and then kind of weekly targets and little daily steps. And by doing it on a kind of structured basis, and each day and each week you kind of fill in the worksheets as you're going through it, it's amazing how much progress you make towards this best year. He talked about it. So if you're the sort of person that likes checklists and you like to kind of break things down into kind of achievable steps, which is a great way to achieve great goals, then that's a book I'd recommend. Okay, unfortunately this webinar is too short to create a program for everybody individually, and it would vary for different people because you're kind of obviously you're all different from where you're starting from. Yeah, Chris, I would say, to be honest, I don't know the answer off the top of my head. Sorry, Chris has just asked, are any of these available to download? I would guess go onto the internet and do a search. I'm sure they are. You can certainly download, you can certainly get audio CDs out. You can probably get MP3 downloads of them as well. But I'm not kind of sure myself at the moment. But hopefully the purpose of this webinar was just to inspire you to make a start. Now, this is all recorded, so that list of books and that, don't worry if you didn't get a chance to write it all down. You can come back to the recording at the moment. If anybody wants any more detail of any of the steps I've talked about, or kind of wants to go over this again in a little bit more, then please let me know. I'm going to hang around for 5 or 10 minutes at the end of this if anyone wants to stay and ask any questions. As you saw at the beginning, this was number 8, which was personal development, and that's the last of the series, which means that next week we start all over again. So if you're just getting started, or if you want to just kind of refresh your sort of thoughts on how you go about starting your business, because you can always learn again, you never know if you might be making some little mistakes, then getting started is what we're going to be talking about next week. And as I mentioned earlier, that series of 8 are all recorded. So if at the moment you're thinking, for example, Lenka, I saw Lenka on the list. I know Lenka's just joined this week. So the ones about getting started and your first 4 weeks, if that's something that's particularly of interest to you at the moment, then you can just go onto YouTube and just do a search on Chris Smith Kleeneze and you'll find all 8 of them there, so you can kind of watch this one again if you want to, or one of the others if that's more relevant to you. Okay, hopefully that all kind of makes sense, guys. I'm just going to stop the recording now.